were, and he made narrow windows high up in the temple walls. Against the walls of the main hall and inner sanctuary, he built a structure in which there were side rooms. The lowest floor was 5 cubits wide, the middle 6 cubits, and the third floor 7. He made offset ledges around the outside of the temple so that nothing could be inserted in the walls. That is very interesting. You know, the temple had 3 floors, and that is very interesting. You can imagine 3 floors. That is so many years ago. The building of the temple, only blocks dressed in the quarry were used, and no hammer, chisel, or any iron tool was at the temple site while it was being built. That is a fact that I never knew. That is a fact that I never knew. There was no, heating. There was no commotion. There was no pollution. There was no noise pollution when it was being built. The entrance to the lowest floor was on the south side of the temple. Wow. A stairway led up to the middle level and from there to the third. Wow, that's very interesting. So you had to climb some stairs. So he built the temple and completed it, roofing it with beams and cedar planks. And he built the side rooms all along the temple, the height of 5 cubits, and they were attached to the temple by beams of cedar. The word of the Lord came to Solomon, as for this temple you're building, if you follow my decrees, observe my laws and keep all my commands and obey them, I will fulfill through you the gave to David your father, and you will live among the Israelites and will not abandon any. And I will live among the Israelites and I will not abandon my people Israel. So Solomon built the temple and completed it. He lined its interior walls with cedar, paneled them from the floor to the temple to the ceiling, and covered the floor of the temple with planks of juniper. He partitioned off 20 cubits at the rear of the temple with cedar boards from floor to ceiling to form within the temple an inner sanctuary, the most holy place. The main hall in front of the room was 40 cubits long. The inside of the temple was cedar covered with gourds and open flowers. Everything was cedar. No stone was to be seen. You see, inside it was those trees that he went to take them from Lebanon. Cedar. Once you were inside the temple, there was no stone was supposed to be seen. That is very, very interesting. Let's continue. He prepared the inner sanctuary within the temple to set the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord there. The inner sanctuary was 20 cubits long, 20 wide. He overlaid the inside with pure gold. Wow. Pure gold. And he extended gold chains across the front of the inner sanctuary, which was overlaid with gold. You see, everything in that temple was gold. Everything. The spoons, the forks, the plates, everything was gold. You know, for the inner sanctuary, he made a pair of cherubim out of olive wood, each 10 cubits high. One wing of the first cherub was 5 cubits long, the other 5 cubits, 10 cubits from wing tip to wing tip. Were also measured 10 cubits. For the 2 cherubims were identical in size and shape. The height of each cherub was 10 cubits. The importance of a cherub was that cherubs are the guardians of God. When Adam and Eve disobeyed God out of the Garden of Eden, God placed a cherub to guard the Garden of Eden. There were cherubs. So there were two cherubs in the temple. Can we continue? Wow. On the walls all around the temple, in both the inner and outer rooms, he carved cherub, palm trees, and open flowers. He also covered the floors of both the inner and outer rooms of the temple with gold. It was like a gold temple. For the entrance to the inner sanctuary, he made doors out of olive wood that were 1/5 and a width of the sanctuary. And on the two olive wood doors, he carved cherubims. Wow. Palm trees and open flowers, and overlaid the cherubim and palm trees with hammered gold. In the same way, for the entrance of the main hall, he made door frames out of olive wood that were 1/4 of the width of the hall. He also made 2 doors out of juniper wood, each having 2 leaves that turned in sockets. Wow, he carved cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers on them and overlaid them with gold hammered evenly over the carvings. And he built the inner courtyard of these 3 courses of dressed stone and 1 course of trimmed cedar beams. Wow. The foundation of the temple of the Lord was laid in the 4th year, in the month of Ziv. In the 11th year, in the month of Bul, in the 8th month, the temple was finished in all its details according to its specifications. He had spent 7 years to build it. Whew, wow. My goodness. Solomon spent 7 years to build the temple of the Lord. You can see the attention to details. You can see what can we say? What is the word? Master, not really a master, but you can see the taste of his work, the craftsmanship. It was an expression of what he felt, and I think that was wonderful. That was really wonderful. He spent a lot of wealth in building that temple. Are we together? If you're new to this channel, you can subscribe, you can comment as we continue reading the scripture. I know this is a very tedious process, but I'm sure that we are going to learn a lot from here.